This is the fifth in our series of 6 videos from the Garden City Library, located in Garden City, Idaho, talking about the 6 skills of early literacy. The skills we've already covered are vocabulary, print motivation, print awareness, narrative skills. Today's video will be letter knowledge, and the one that's left is phonological or sound awareness. Today's tips are things that I hope you already have around your house, and if not, they should be pretty inexpensive to acquire. And a lot of these things are nothing new. You probably grew up with them or saw them in school, but sometimes a reminder or a refresher is helpful. So the first thing I'd like to show are simple stencils. But before that, let's talk about what letter knowledge is. Letter knowledge is knowing that different letters are different from each other, that their shapes are different, and knowing the difference between capital letters and lowercase letters, that we use capital letters for names and places, and at the beginning of our sentences, and lowercase letters for all of the rest. And the last thing that's important to know is that every letter has a different sound that it makes. So back to the stencils. Here are some stencils. I've got stencils for uppercase letters. I hope you can see those okay. And I've got some stencils for lowercase letters. Letting your child play with letters is really helpful. They can see the different shapes. They can start to note in their own mind the similarities and differences between them. So that was the stencils. The next thing I'd like to talk about goes back to an earlier example. You might remember in our print awareness video that I showed you this picture of the house. And my suggestion of what you could do with that was to write a sentence to say, "This is my brown house," or whatever sentence you guys chose. Taking this a step further with letter knowledge, I'd like to suggest that you modify the activity a little bit. I've made up these sentence strips that are the same as these, but a little bit easier to read on the screen. And what you can do is use dashed lines and let your child copy them. Kind of the same idea as a stencil, but also working on those fine motor skills that are so important in your child's development. So you can do letters of the alphabet. And I just made these by myself, so you can too, I'm sure. You can also search on the internet. I know they have traceable letters on there for kids. If you just put in something like that, I'm sure you'd be able to find a resource like this. But if you'd prefer to make it on your own, you can also find free paper, not necessarily the sentence strips, online, so that's available to you. But like I said, I just made these. See all my little dashes that I made? I made my dashes prominent enough so that they can see them, but not connected, so that they could trace them. And you can have a discussion. Here's our uppercase letters, A, B, C, and there are the lowercase, A, B, C. Now you do it. And then after your child gets done with a line or 2 lines or whatever, you can write more letters for them to go ahead and trace. Make it an interactive activity. Another thing that's great for them to know is, of course, their name. They will need to know what their name looks like in kindergarten, so might as well get a jump start on it now. And this is also a great time to talk about different letter shapes. So you can write their first name, you should write their last name, and even their middle name would be a helpful thing for them. Other important concepts are, of course, days of the week. So that's what this example is. I've got Monday, as you can see, and you could do the different days and all of those kinds of things. And going back to the house, I know we kind of left it in the dust as I showed the sentence strips, but I wanted to show you just single words first, is you could make your tracing lines on this paper for your child. So you could put this as a big brown house or whatever and do the little dashes, and then it's your child's job to go ahead and trace that. That's one way to work on letter knowledge. I might also mention that during these different tracing activities or coloring or whatever, another thing that I wanted to suggest along the same lines is using 2 books from the library. They don't have to be library books, but these happen to be from the library. The first thing is, when you're reading with your child, you can see this book is called What's in Grandma's Grocery Bag? and I don't know how to say the author's name. It looks like We May Pan. And you'll see the first page. I see something red. What is it? And then the translation's there in Spanish. And then they get to pull out of the bag and they see it's an apple. Now, what you can do to work on letter knowledge, which is the skill that we're focusing on today, is kind of do a hide and seek on the page, or an I spy. You can say, I spy a capital W. Can you find it? Let them see if they can find it. You can say, I see a lowercase I. Now there are 4 I's in this passage. I had to count them really quickly, and one of them is capital. So that would be a good thing when you see both a capital and a lowercase to use those so that they can really have to think about the difference. Or you can point out the I's. You can say, here are the I's. I. Find the uppercase I, or find the lowercase I's, and then go back and reiterate, look, this is a capital I, and these 3 are lowercase I. You can do that with any book, whenever. You guys can also look for other letters inside the words, but yeah, using things that are already done for you, it seems to be a good way to go about things. The last thing that I'd like to show you today is a resource that we have available in our library. It's a special book to go along with these magnetic letters. But regardless of whether or not you have the book, I'm betting you probably have little fridge magnet letters in your home. And if you don't, they're very, very inexpensive, and you can find those. But if you do happen to want to find this book, it's called The Chicka Chicka ABC Magnet Book by Bill Martin Jr. and John Archambault. I don't know how to say his last name either. And all these magnet letters come in a little plastic bag connected with the book. So that's really handy. And then what you guys get to do is open it up, of course. There's a how to use this book page, which is very helpful. And then there is a magnet. It's like a magnet cardboard. You can't see it very well on the screen, but it's cardboard. You get to put it behind the first page, otherwise it won't stick if you have more than that. And then there's a little rhyme for all the letters of the alphabet. A told B and B told C, I'll meet you at the top of the coconut tree. And so then you and your child get to play a little hide and seek game, or discovery game. Okay, let's see if we can find the A in our pile of letters. I know that you can't see the pile offhand, but here's our A. I get to stick that on the board. Oops, it was upside down. And here's our B. The nice thing about this book is that the letters are the same color on the pages as they are on the plastic letter figures, and so it makes it easier to find them. Here's our C. See that it's purple as well? And it doesn't matter that they place it on top. They can place it next to them. And then after that you can say, okay, find the B, find the C, find the A. You know, just reinforce what they've already found. Those are the skills that I wanted to show you today. I hope, again, that you find these things helpful, be creative, and have fun while you're talking with your kid about letter knowledge.